Hi everyone, and welcome to this video in which we will explain you the rules of Paper Tales. Paper Tales is a game that plays in 30 minutes for 2 to 5 players, age of 12 or more. In Paper Tales, each player is the ruler of a kingdom that they will try to develop during 200 years. A game plays in 4 turns, at the end of which whoever has the most legend points is the winner. Box content. In the game box, you will find 81 unit cards, 25 building cards, 5 player aid cards, 30 gold tokens of value 1, 10 gold tokens of value 5, 30 H tokens, 1 score track, 5 score tokens, 1 time token, and 1 rulebook. Game setup. Place the score track at the center of the table and lay the time token on the first spot of the turn track. Form 2 pools with the gold and H tokens. Each player takes 3 gold, then they choose a color and take corresponding player's aid card. Score tokens are placed on the score track on square 0. Players each take a set of 5 different building cards, 1 town, 1 mine, 1 barracks, 1 tavern and 1 temple. Shuffle all unit cards and place them face down in a pile. Game turn. A game turn is composed of 6 phases. During each phase, players play simultaneously before moving to the next phase. Phase 1. Recruitment. Players will recruit the units that they will have the opportunity to deploy later on during the turn. All units present themselves in the same manner. Their name comes center on top. On the left of the name is indicated the unit's deployment cost. The red shield at the center of the card shows units' military strength. Lastly, most of the cards feature some special abilities indicated inside the white layout on their bottom part. A unit's ability is resolved during the phase indicated by the icon found on the left. A unit showing a scroll with 1 or more icons in it produces the resources indicated in this scroll. At the beginning of recruitment phase, each player receives 5 unit cards from the draw. Players will simultaneously choose 1 to be kept face down for themselves in front of them. Then they pass the 4 remaining cards to their left neighbor. Each player then selects a second card out of the ones that they newly received from their neighbor. Then they pass the remaining cards to their left neighbor once again. Play proceeds that way until players have each selected 5 cards in front of them. As shown on the turn track, the direction in which players pass cards changes every turn. To the left on turns 1 and 3, to the right on turns 2 and 4. Phase 2. Deployment. Players will now deploy the units that they recruited on the previous phase. Each player has 4 virtual spaces available in front of them, 2 in the front and 2 in the back. As all players proceed simultaneously, they will each place the units of their choice face down in front of them within the limits of their available spots. Among all the cards that they choose to not deploy, each player can select and keep 1 aside, for instance on their player aid card. Each player will take this conserved card back into their hand at the end of next recruitment phase. Once all players have placed their cards, they reveal them simultaneously and each player has to pay the total cost of all units that they just put into play. If a player is unable to pay for a newly revealed unit, they have to discard it. A player can only have 4 units in front of them at any given point of time. So, as from turn 2, it is likely that players will not have enough room available to deploy all the units that they would want to. That is why, before putting new units into play, players can reorganize the units that they already have into play from a previous turn. They can move a unit from front to back or from back to front. If a player wants to get rid of a given unit, they can discard it to free 1 spot in their kingdom for another unit. Anyway, a player is in no way forced to put 4 new units into play during their deployment phase. They can choose to deploy only 1, 2 or 3 or even none. Phase 3. Wars. Players compete to earn legend points. Each player will be engaged in 2 wars, one with their left neighbor and one with their right neighbor. To determine the outcome of a war, players only need to compare their kingdom strengths with their opponent's strengths. A kingdom strength is determined by summing up the strengths of units placed in the front. If a player's kingdom strength is higher or equal to their opponent's, that player wins the war and earns 3 legend points. In case of a tie, both players are considered to win the war and both earn 3 legend points. A player can thus earn up to 6 legend points each turn by winning the 2 wars in which they are engaged with their left and right neighbor. Phase 4. Income. During first phase, all kingdoms produce their income in gold. Each player earns 2 gold, plus any gold indicated by their units and buildings that provide some. Each unit or building with a first phase ability can bring gold during the income phase. Phase 5. Construction. During construction phase, players will have the opportunity of constructing the buildings that they have in hand. Buildings comes with 2 levels, level 1 on the front side and level 2 on the back side. A level 1 building is made of wood. It will earn 1 legend point at the end of the game and provides the player with the ability shown inside the bottom left brown layout. A level 2 building is made of stone. It will earn 3 legend points at the end of the game and provides the player with 2 abilities. The level 1 ability shown inside the bottom left grey layout, plus a second ability shown in the bottom right grey layout. On their construction phase, each player has 2 options: construct a new building or upgrade an already existing building. In order to construct a building on level 1, the player must get from either a unit or a building in their kingdom the resource required for this first level of the building. They also have to pay the land cost, which is of 2 gold for each building that they have already previously constructed in their kingdom. Land cost only has to be paid when a new building is being constructed. To upgrade a building to its level 2, player must have in their kingdom the 2 resources required for level 2. No land cost has to be paid for upgrading a building. Each player can only perform 1 construction action: construct a new building or upgrade an existing one. However, they can construct a new building directly on its level 2. To achieve that, their kingdom has to provide all the resources required for both level 1 and level 2. In addition to earning more legend points and providing a new ability, a level 2 building brings a third advantage. Once a player has at least 1 level 2 building, they are allowed to have up to 5 units simultaneously in their kingdom. This 5th unit is always deployed in the front. The level 2 side of each building shows a reminder of this bonus. Whatever the number of level 2 buildings that a player possesses, they can never get the right to have more than 5 units in their kingdom. Phase 6. Aging. During the aging phase, any unit in any kingdom that has 1 or more age tokens on it dies and is discarded. Then an age token is added on each unit that is still alive in a kingdom. Thus, unless a special ability says otherwise, a unit can live for 2 game turns. Once all players have added age tokens on their units, the turn ends. Time token is moved 1 square to the right on the turn track, then a new turn begins. End of the game. The game ends after the 4th game turn has been played. Players add to their score the legend points indicated on the buildings that they have constructed throughout the game. The player who has then the highest total on the score track is the winner. In case of a tie between several players, whoever among them has the most gold is the winner. If there is still a tie, players share victory. Rules for 2-player. A 2-player game requires 2 rule adjustments. It is, however, suggested that players have already discovered the game with more players before they play with 2. The first modification impacts recruitment phase. Both players are dealt 9 unit cards from the draw instead of 5. Each time they select a card for themselves, players have to choose and discard another one before passing their cards to their opponent. The second change occurs during war phase. If a player has equal or more strength than their opponent, they win one war, exactly as with the normal rules. But with twice or more strength than their opponents, a player wins 2 wars and earns 6 legend points. This video of the rules is now over. Wish you will enjoy your play.